Hey guys, welcome. Welcome aboard if you're brand new, welcome back if you're not, and welcome home if that feels right for you. Today we want to talk about 2024 as it relates to Virgo energy. So this will apply to you if you are a Virgo sun, moon, or rising, or let's be real, or Virgo Venus. Or if you have an interest in or an appreciation for someone who has strong Virgo placements, you are absolutely free to watch this as a cross-watcher. I firmly believe that the more knowledge you have about energy, the better off you are, especially in relationships. So today we're going to talk about themes. Ooh, how nice, Virgo. Themes and blessings and awarenesses. We'll pull cards for each quarter, and then we will also have a card for the unknown. That means something that you may not anticipate directly, but the insight will be appreciated. And so, yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the astrology of 2024 for you, my Virgo friends. So your season starts on August 23rd this year. You have a new moon on September 3rd and a full moon on February 24th. You have a Mercury retrograde in your sign at the beginning of August. How exciting is that, right? And and also you've got Venus in your sign at the beginning of August as well. So you'll be welcoming that. I will say you also, in your polarity, right? So when we talk about your polarity, the Virgo Pisces polarity, you also have a lot going on in the Pisces end. So, just paying attention because Saturn is in Pisces all year, and Neptune is in Pisces all year. So there are some themes that might go along with that. But mostly for you, it's a fairly interesting. It's a fairly quiet year for you guys. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Sometimes a little regrouping is a great thing. And as we get activated, this is why we watch the weekly What's Up, right? Because as we get activated through the year, certain aspects will have more to do with us. But right now we're just talking about your themes for 2024. And so, this is important. And it's important to kind of have an idea of what's coming. So let's talk about what you've got over here so far. So if your theme for 2024 is express your joy, first of all, how beautiful is that? Sorry, my cat's been wandering around up here. I love that as a Virgo thing. I think sometimes Virgo does not express their joy enough. And what I mean by that is, Virgo is a sign that gets a lot of reputation for being a little bit picky, a little bit fussy, a little bit self-critical. And that's not wrong. I love a whole lot of Virgos though. And so what I can tell you is that usually Virgos are well, let's say, well-founded in all of their things. And so who can argue? We can't argue with a Virgo. We can only encourage them to express their joy, mostly because most Virgos I know are super wonderful human beings and have a lot to offer. And they just second-guess themselves quite often, to the detriment of everyone around them, because the bliss of a Virgo is lovely. And so following your bliss this year, right? My soul sings with joy. So you definitely have a theme here, which is quite wonderful, honestly. So if you've been devoting yourself in terms of that kind of head down energy, you know, getting it done, which is what Virgo has a beautiful tendency to do, right? Virgos are highly functional, super wonderful in terms of how to do a thing, when to do a thing, where to do a thing, the best way to do a thing. You guys crush it in all of those matters. But also this year it might be an invitation to lean into your joy, right? Especially with that opposition, Saturn in opposition in Pisces, right? How are you serving yourself, right? And so how can we bring that joy into function without allowing it to get us down, right? And so if we're talking about that, that's about the joy of function, which is a beautiful thing, right, Virgos? It is. And you've also got Neptune, right, in opposition. So what a beautiful thing, right? That's about divine connection. That's about the way that you express as yourself, through yourself, and really allow the divine to become part of your experience. And what that could mean for you, especially with this lineup so far, is that really taking that kind of joy of function, express your joy, follow your bliss, right? Those are actions. And for Virgo, that's a very happy, healthy place to be, right? Virgos want to be doing a thing. So if we're called to express and follow, if we're called to sing, right? My soul sings with joy. That's beautiful. So let's talk about this retrograde as an awareness and what that means to these cards, right? So let's just go here. We've all been doing our work for quite a while now. You know, we just have. And Virgo is no exception. And the thing about Virgo doing the work is that Virgo is always going to take it so seriously, which there's nothing wrong with that, right? But if we're going to be honest, sometimes y'all get a little heavy on yourself. You get very hard on yourself. You create rules and regulations and top-heavy structures and places where you really come into self-criticism and where you find so much fault, you know, that hyper-perfectionist tendency that is Virgo energy can really get you down. And so the more you stop and review and review and review and go back and comb through and sift and sort and do all those things that Virgos love to do, it takes you back into your past, right? And out of your present. And here's the deal. If we're being called to express, we can only do that in the present. If we're being called to follow your bliss, you can only follow in the present, right? You can't follow it out there. That's not possible. Your actions are always in the present. And so if your awareness here is about retrograde, we want to talk about that. We want to make sure that you're functioning in the present. Right? So this is about present tense joy, present tense bliss for you this year, my amazing Virgo friends. Now let's break down these quarters. So in the first quarter, you have strength, the devil, and the Four of Cups. Again, we're talking about present tense living right off the bat. Where are you looking? Where are you choosing to be? Right? Strength is, this is a 3D choice in terms of how you process your inner work, right? How you conjure the idea of what your demons are. And if you didn't see that, I'm air quoting it, right? All we can do is be in reclamation of every part of us, even the parts that are shaded or shadowed, and we can only witness them as part of the gradient that is our totality. If you seek to take one slice of anything, you lose the context of the entirety. And so how you choose to pick one thing out right? Instead of grabbing the whole arc of whatever it is you're looking at, separates you. It creates this 3D separation, which is what this Devil card is really all about. And the Four of Cups, right? Where are you looking? Where are you focusing? Where are you choosing to sink your anchors, right? Are you attached to something outside of you? Are you attached to an external person, circumstance, situation? Are you stuck in, remembering something that this Four of Cups here is a card of regret, right? This is a past. This is, oh, I shoulda, coulda, woulda. If only I would have. If I wish I wouldn't have. Da 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 da. Well, regret is going to keep you out of that present tense every single time. Every single time. It's like an anchor. It's like a tether. It's like a constant echo of something that you probably necessarily don't want to hear. And so here's the deal. If you want your soul to sing with joy, and if you want that clarity and that beautiful presence of harmony, and if you want to hear that note in its brilliant clarity as an expression of your joy, it can't be laid over the echo of your regrets. Right? You have to clear those out. And so this is how we do that work in order to really witness the release of those attachments, those expectations, those anticipations, the things that didn't come to fruition, those things that we maybe, in fact, the decisions we didn't make. There's nothing wrong with saying, oh, guess what? If I had that to do over again, I would choose differently. But to get hung up there, to allow it to color your present, is to take away from every expression of joy, every possibility to follow your bliss now, because you're anchored, tethered in the past, right? You can't be in constant review mode. You have to be in action mode. And as a Virgo, you completely understand that. And you want to be there. You don't want to be hypercritical. So finding the way to reroute yourself into the action of the present is always going to be best for you, especially in this first quarter. Now, let's look at the second quarter. Here you have the Queen of Cups, the King of Wands, and the King of Pentacles. Now, two kings, so this is about mastery, right? And it's about mastery in terms of the way that you are boots on the ground and the way that your heart is engaged in your process, right? So this second quarter is going to be about the way that you learn to feel your way through. And while I know that feels a little scary, my Virgo friends, because not all Virgos want to claim all their feelings all the time, right? But we're looking at expressing, and we're looking at following, we're looking at singing, right? And so we do those things from our heart. That is an inspiration. That is the way that we express, right, our sensual experience of. And when we talk about your energy, we talk about this beautiful energy of service. Right? Virgos want to serve. And how do you serve? Well, guess what? You serve by first serving yourself. I have this beautiful, brilliant, full cup brimming over with abundance and support and compassion and all of those lovely things. But you have to know how to mitigate your resources. You have to know how to utilize your motivation and your dedication and your devotion in service to all those things. And so you can spend this second quarter learning the way to, let's call it, curate your environment in order to minimize your tendencies to look backward, right? You just keep reminding yourself, here's my cup, this is where I am. I'm coming into presence over and over and over again. And what that's going to allow me to do is it's going to allow me to be in service to my own highest and best. It's going to allow me to put my heart first. And then all of those resources will follow, right? I will have no need to be looking backwards because my present will be so abundantly full that there won't really be a need, right? So if you do this work in the first quarter, then the second quarter, you're literally reaping these benefits and just creating this wildly abundant state that is your heart, right? And this is where we begin to learn to express our joy. And so in the third quarter, you have the Queen of Pentacles up here, right? So I will just say, if you have some relationship things that are in a push-me-pull-you state, I would say that by the second or third quarter of 2024, those will be solid. If you're looking for a partner, you might start paying attention in the second and third quarters of 2024 because you just never know what's coming, right? So in terms of the healing journey that we're talking about, don't bullshit yourself, please. Don't fall into a tendency to be in nonsense, right? Seven of Swords is the way that we choose to create a story, or the way we choose to accept or believe or buy into a story. Constantly coming back to this cup, right? My heart, my soul, my joy, my bliss, anything that doesn't match up with that, we're going to consciously choose, especially during this third quarter, to absolutely ignore it. You're really going to have two choices, and they're going to be clear choices. So make sure that everywhere you look, you understand that you have a divergence. You're in the heck yeah or the no thank you. And anything that doesn't feel authentic, that doesn't ring true, that doesn't make your whole body and being say, yes, please, right? That's right here. You know how to do it. Don't backslide into some bad habits here, because you could. Nobody wants that, though. Nobody wants that for you, especially not you. And so as long as you're staying present in your heart, right, you can't miss. You can't miss. You've done that work of separating out what those two things feel like. Just make sure that you stay in it. You won't regret that, right? You won't regret it at all. Just come back to that sense of home, what it feels like, what it smells like, what it tastes like, right? This is powerful energy for you this year. Yeah, big time. And then in that fourth quarter, you have the Chariot, the Seven of Wands, and the Six of Cups. So here's the deal. Again, we're talking about this divergence, but we're also talking about the way you move forward based on what it feels like, how you create that connectivity, right, in your heart and in your soul as the expression, right? It has to be put into action. It can't just be held in your hand. You can't just say, oh great, thanks for that ace. thanks for that beautiful gift. Let me just put it on a shelf and I'll just keep looking at it. No, that's not how it works. What we have to do is put it into motion. And the way that we put that into motion is to know what is worth defending, right? We understand that the nonsense doesn't come forward, but the beauty does, right? The gifts, the resonance, the things that are joyful, right? The way that we sing and express, the way that we put that joy into motion comes with us every single time. We know how to defend it. We know why. We know where. We know when to say, no, thank you. In fact, that won't work for me. Because this is how things are going here now. And you have this beautiful reminder at the end, right? You have the Six of Cups. This is that card of loving like you've never been hurt. This is that card that allows you to be in that state of unconditional love every single time. That reminds you, you know what it feels like to serve yourself first. As that is one of your charges, Virgo, in the dichotomy of Virgo and Pisces, that axis is about serve or suffer, right? And so if you're not serving yourself first, you're always going to suffer. The fact that you have so many cups in action here speaks to the fact that you have work to do in terms of balance, right? You have to learn to serve yourself so that you may serve any or everyone else. Otherwise, your dissociation is going to be so powerful that you will not be able to put yourself in action. And that will also increase your suffering this year. And I don't think you want that. In all honesty, I'm sure you don't want that. I don't think you'd be watching a 2024 update if you did want to suffer. I don't think you would be trying to plan. Anyway, what we're talking about is really being in your element this year and witnessing how you're in action versus being in action, right? Just making sure that you're moving and moving in the correct direction, not stuck, not moving backwards, not looking backwards, but always choosing what feels like home, right? And who feels like home, and where and when and why, all those things, answering every question with what is in my highest and best, and knowing that the answer is already there, right? You already know. The universe is inviting you to step up and step in and expand yourself in terms of how you express, right? And you don't have these giant, weighty, draggy kind of aspects this year, so you can really focus on this. Focus on your focus, right? This is your key. Let's check out your unknown. Ooh, beyond the ordinary. I like it. Let's see what your key concepts are here, shall we? Okay. The mystical, ineffable part of life. Trusting in the invisible world without understanding it. Recognizing that some things cannot be known in advance and are not meant to be grasped intellectually. The awareness that everything is as it should be, even if it doesn't make sense, right? So when we're talking about joy and bliss, these are ineffable, right? They're feelings, they're states, they're things that you can't quantify, things that you can't put in words so very easily. All you can do is resonate as, yes, I understand what that feels like, right? Nobody feels a feeling in the same way. We just identify our own inner states as something that another person can resonate with based on the way that we describe it. So you have choices. You can try to analyze it, pick it apart, put it in a box, put it on a shelf, or you can live within it, right? You can create your own felt sense experience, and you can put it into action over and over and over again, constantly moving toward that feeling. Or you can anchor yourself to something else. The bottom line is that how you choose to operate in relation to those felt senses is everything. Right? Whether you're in alignment with it, whether you're out of alignment with it, right? However you choose to conjure it and defend it, however you choose to put it into action, whether that is a singular event, right? Or whether it's a shared event, right? You might have someone from your past that comes back this year. You might have someone from your present who feels like someone from your past. You might have a relooping of a lesson, right? And there's something uncanny about this situation as it comes into the present. This feels like a message for one specific person, or maybe just a few, where you feel like you have to defend yourself again for something that isn't even happening right now. It puts you on the defensive. So just constantly coming back to your highest and best, right? Constantly coming back to your joy as an action, your joy as a function, is absolutely the way that you want to keep that moving this year. You don't want to be stagnant. And there's a difference between stillness and stagnation, right? In stillness, we hear things that we may ordinarily not hear, but in stagnation, we get nowhere. And we soon reject everything. That's not going to be your issue this year. Your issue is, what do you do next, right? How do you jettison this baggage enough so that you can move forward? And your answer for you this year is to just trust. Even if you can't see it, trust your felt sense. Your felt senses, right? You've got both of these King and Queen of Pentacles here. You've got all these cups. This is about diving into your feelings. So the way to do that, my Virgo friends, is to just keep moving, right? Keep that balance always moving, so you're not veering off course one way or the other. That you've got this. You got it, right? You already know. Just don't fool yourself. Don't fool yourself. You know where that anchor needs to be released, and where that, let's call it like an ethereal connection as opposed to an attachment or a bond or an anchor, right? It's a connection, and the deeper you can connect as your joy, the better off you're going to be by the end of this year. So if you start off doing the right work, and by the right work we're talking about really not picking apart, choosing the now, choosing your experience in the present, you're always going to come back to this unconditional state, right? No matter what goes on in the middle. So this is going to be a great year for you guys. Come on, expressing your joy and following your bliss. Who can argue with that, right? It sounds like it's going to be an amazing year for you guys. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button so you can come back and tell me how it goes. And I'll see you soon. Be blessed.